Hello and welcome to my video on the Pokemon Colourpop collection. I feel like Colourpop was kind of on a break when it came to collabs for a while, but between Twilight, Beauty and the Beast, and now this, they've really been churning out the hits lately. This video is not going to be a true first impressions of the collection. I'm not gonna lie, I already have played around with it a little bit. I did also pick up the palette and one of the blushes for my roommate, so as soon as everything arrived, we started playing with everything. So I have used several things in this collection already. I also hope you can't hear too much of what's going on outside right now. It's Memorial Day weekend as I'm filming this, and there's like loud music and I think maybe like a block party going on like a block or two away from me. I figure like today is also kind of the only day I can film. So fingers crossed either we don't catch a lot of noise outside or I'm able to edit it out in post. But onto the collection, I have the eyeshadow palette, 3 Super Shock shadows, the lip mask, the color-changing pH lip balm, the lip gloss set, and then 3 of the cream blushes. This feels a little out of order because I usually start with the eyeshadow first, but I figure we start with the lip mask because you just start with skincare and skin prep. I have never gotten a lip balm from Colourpop before. I've gotten a couple other of their like soul body slash skincare items. I think this still technically falls under the Colourpop banner, and look at this, it's a Pokemon! For my personal daily use, I don't know if I would classify this as a skincare item or a makeup item, because it is a lip mask, but it does have some very subtle sparkle in it. It also has a very strong, like, candy berry scent. Like, I don't even have to stick my nose into it. I can smell it from here. I'm not sure how much of a tint there is to it, so I'm not really sure how worth it to be to swatch it. Yeah, there's really not much of a tint there, but oh, I have like a ton of those Laneige lip balm applicators just because I've gone through so many. I should have just pulled one of those out and used instead of going in with my finger. I mean, not that I'm ever gonna be sharing this with anybody. But there we go, yeah. So when I say like candy berry scent, I feel like we've been seeing more of these like nostalgic kind of scents in makeup and like skincare products lately. Like I always reference like scents that are evocative of Livy Lou, Claire's, lip smackers, and this is definitely kind of in that realm of 2000s nostalgic, very overly sweet scents that some people might find a little juvenile. So whether you're gonna prefer something like this, because it is fairly strong, it's gonna be up to your personal preference. Now in the camera, I can't really see the sparkles, and in person, it's a little more obvious, but it's very subtle. So honestly, the fact that you can't really even see the sparkle, and sorry, I just noticed I have a bit of sunscreen right above my lip. But yeah, the sparkles are not as noticeable as I thought it'd be, so I could see myself using this as like a regular day-to-day skincare item. Whereas me personally, if something's got like sparkle or glitter in it, I would not use it as like a regular lip mask. I would only want it kind of for that sparkle effect and not something I'd put on my lips every day. Also, sorry, I have to. The temptation to not throw this across the room like a Pokeball is so strong. Alrighty, next moving on to the eyeshadow palette. This is probably the biggest eyeshadow palette I've ever owned from Colourpop. I've owned many of their eyeshadow palettes, so I am very familiar with this formula. I have used this once already, just like a simple look from when I was going to hang out with a friend the other day. And so I have seen the inside of this. It's beautiful. Look at all these Pokemon. Like, I kind of expected them to just either have, if not like a mirror, maybe like a more simple image of like Pikachu or something. But the fact they included all of these, I think these are all Gen 1 Pokemon. Yeah, this is great. Got my sister's favorite Pokemon, Psyduck. Got my favorite Pokemon, Eevee down here. A whole package. This palette, like I said, is large compared to what I'm used to, but I think I'm gonna still swatch every shade for you. I know one of the very first makeup videos I ever did for the channel, I was trying Morphe eyeshadows for one of those like giant Morphe palettes. I still do have it. I opted out of swatch. It's the only time I've ever opted out of swatching a palette just because there's so many shades, but I think this is still doable. So let me start with the first shade called Evolution. Like I said, I have used this palette before, so I feel like, because like I've said in the past, sometimes Colourpop cannot be the most consistent when it comes to eyeshadow formulas, particularly in their collab palettes, but I think this palette has the good formula, or at least of the shades I've tried, it's the good shimmer, particularly shimmers, because some of their shimmers in their newer palettes can be a little on the dry side. Alright, second shade is called Celadon City. Yeah, look at these two shimmers. They applied very smoothly and they feel very buttery, more towards like that creamier, almost Super Shock formula. Next shade is called Jelly Donut. I did use this shade the other day. And I love the shift because it does look white in the pan for the most part, unless you look really closely. You can kind of see the pink shift in the pan, but it's not really apparent until you swatch it. Next shade is called Gym Leader. Now this still feels very smooth, but I do also feel the thicker kind of glitter particles. So this is a little bit of a hybrid shade. It's still creamy, smooth, and has regular shimmer particles in it, but does also have glitter particles as well. Next shade is called Fossil, our first matte. I use this shade as well, just as like a base shade. You can even see like it's like blending in with my skin tone. Next is called Elite 4. I have also used this shade. Very strong, but very simple gold. Next is called Cerulean City. I am actually not super familiar with Gen 1. I mean, like, I started with Gen 4, Diamond and Pearl, and so obviously I know all of the Pokemon in Gen 1, because obviously when you jump into a series in the middle, you have to, like, memorize all of the Pokemon from the previous generations too, which, if you're starting Pokemon now, I'm so sorry. Now that there's, like, over 1,000 Pokemon to know. Alright, next shade is called Tall Grass. But yeah, I think because of where I started in the series, I'm not super familiar with Gen 1. Alright, next shade, I think this is the only true glitter shade. This is Blasting Off. Oh yeah, look at that glitter. Chunky chunky. I do love the color though. Next shade is called Pokemon Center. Ow. Already out of fingers, be right back. If I knew better by now, I would know to just keep makeup remover right by me, but I never seem to learn. Alright, next shade is called Vermilion City. I have already used this shade before. I feel like we haven't had a real spring this year, so I've kind of already been jumping into like summer colors. Hence why I like the gold and the orange and whatnot. Next is Saffron City. Ooh, this is one of those mattes that has shimmer in it. I know some people aren't the biggest fan of shades like this. I personally don't mind them. Honestly, because half the time when I do use shades like this from Colourpop, the shimmer in the matte formula tends to kind of just blend away, unless maybe like I was just packing it on by itself. I never seem to have a problem with like the shimmer like contaminating other shades or like turning the matte kind of weird. Next is called SS Anne. Let me think, what Pokemon games have I played? So many. Obviously, Diamond and Pearl. I had Pearl. Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Technically, I've played both because I had Soul Silver and then my sister had Heart Gold. I've also played Gen 5. I don't think I finished that, though. Shade is Viridian City. And then Lavender Town. I know the story about that. I have read the creepypasta. And I've played a lot of the spin-off Pokemon games, too. There's Fuchsia City, played Pokemon Ranger. I Choose You. Ooh, kind of looks like the hot Cheeto dust I was. In case you didn't know, I have like hot Cheeto dust on some of my fingers because I was just eating hot Cheetos and I couldn't wash it off. But yeah, Pokemon Ranger. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. That's what I was thinking of. And then Poke Park, which is like kind of this like weird casual game on the Wii. Those were fun. I played those a lot with my sister. Next is called Champion. Oh, is this another glitter? Oh yes, this is another glitter. It's like yellow and white. Very, very interesting. I've never seen a glitter like this. I see. It's primarily yellow glitters, but on a white base. Not sure how well that translates on camera. Next is called Indigo League. So I did also watch the anime a lot. Mainly, like I said, Gen 4, so I'm a Dawn stan. Of course, then I love Brock, who I know is originally from Gen 1, but he was in the Gen 4 anime a lot. Next is called Fainted. I'm actually really liking the names for these shades and like the theming of it. Sometimes Colourpop gets it really right like this, and then sometimes the names can be a little generic, but this one I think naming, theming, very good. This next shade is called Drying Pan, which I swear is a reference to something. Like, so I'm not familiar with Gen 1. I know the inside joke behind Jelly Donut. It was kind of like this weird translation thing.
Huh? Have a donut. That always cheers me up. Pika pika!
These donuts are great! Jelly-filled are my favorite! Nothing beats a jelly-filled donut!
During the initial 4Kids translation of Pokemon, but Drying Pan is also another inside joke. I just don't know what it is. Let's see what I think of this shade. Nice dark purple. Didn't swatch super clearly, but we are getting into the darker shades, so I kind of expected that. Next is Pewter City. Ooh, another matte with shimmer. I kind of like the shimmer in this though. It's like mostly white flecks, but I'm catching a few other like colors in here. Like I see some blue and some yellow. Kind of interesting. Now I'm kind of questioning if that's just contamination from all the other shimmer shades I've been swatching. So who knows? Second to last shade is called Cinnabar Island. Ooh, that's gorgeous. I'm kind of wishing now this palette would have come out later in the year, because that screams like a perfect fall shade for me. All right, last shade is called Trainer's Path. It's just a basic brown. My boyfriend is coming over for dinner in a little bit, so unfortunately I don't have time to do one look on each eye, even though with such a big palette, I probably should. So I might make another video later on of me doing different looks with the palette, maybe on like TikTok or something. Although I've been trying to post my shorter videos here on YouTube as well, and they've been doing pretty well. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, but just because of my time constraint today, I can only do one look. I do also have the 3 Super Shock Shadow Stroke. I always know whenever there's like Super Shocks or eyeliners in these collections, I always forget them, so I'm not gonna forget them this time. Just so I don't forget them, let me just swatch them out for you real quick. I think this is honestly the one I want to use. Basically because out of all the Gen 1 starters, Bulbasaur is probably my favorite. I do love me some greens. This is called Solar Beam. Ooh, very smooth. Always love dipping into a fresh Super Shock. The next one is themed to Charmander. It's called Flame Thrower. Ooh. The last one is themed to Squirtle. It's called Hydro Pump. I really should make a video one of these days swatching my Super Shock collection, because it's probably, out of all the makeup items, other than maybe like lip glosses, it's the item I really like collect. So even though these 3 colors are wildly different, they're all cohesive because they have the same iridescent kind of pinky blue and somewhat gold shimmer running through them. So it kind of gives this nice complementary factor to them. But like I said, I promised I wouldn't forget the other eye products in my look, so I think I'm just gonna go right in and go down with some Solar Beam as the base. Alrighty, so clearly we've got this like green base going on, but I think because the top I'm wearing, I also want to throw in a little bit of blue. So now I'm going to go into the palette, and then I'm going to darken this up with some Indigo League. So me and my boyfriend are going out to drinks tonight with one of his friends, and I hope my boyfriend loves me, and I hope his friend is forgiving, because this look might turn out to be kind of a lot. So I think I'm gonna, now that everything's kind of darkened up, I'm gonna go in with some contrast with some Cerulean City. I know they say never lay mattes on top of shimmers, but my senior makeup artist at Sephora told me that is a big fat lie, and I like to do what I want, in case you couldn't already tell. I'm also really liking how this like lighter blue is kind of lightening up the green. Like I just put on a lot right there, but you could still definitely see the green tones. Alrighty, now I'm gonna add some shimmer to the tear duct and lower lid. Honestly, I might use this in my inner corner too. Evolution. Alrighty, so this is definitely one of the most complicated looks I've probably ever done. I really like it. It could definitely use an eyeliner though. So this is actually from the Twilight Colourpop collection. It's called Forever. Okay. This is my problem with ink liners. Can I dilute it enough? No. No. I tried to fix it. I couldn't. I can't believe I have to redo my entire right eye because of ink eyeliner. God damn it. Okay, redid my right eye. It's not perfect, but I don't care. Oh, these things they just happen sometimes. I also did add some more evolution to the left eye as well because I just needed more sparkle to make myself feel better. But now that I've shown you what my redone right eye looks like, I'm going to go off, put on some mascara, brows, base makeup, and be right back to try the blushes and the glosses. Alrighty, just finished all of my base makeup, and now I am super excited to get into these cream blushes. So the one I've already tried is Metronome. It's kind of the most basic out of the three of them. You'll see it's just a basic pink. Although in person, it's a lot more subtle, whereas in the camera, it's looking a lot brighter than it actually is. And then when you blend it in, it's even gonna be lighter in terms of pigmentation. I was explaining this to my roommate because I got her the Gengar blush. Gengar is one of her favorite Pokemon, and she's about my skin tone, so I was kind of worried that at first she would be intimidated by a color in the pan that looked like this. But I'm gonna swatch mine, warm it up a little bit. This is different from the Super Shock blush formula. It's called the Instant Crush formula. I believe it's a new formula or it's a more recent formula that hasn't been in like a collab collection before. I don't tend to buy a lot of Colourpop's permanent collections, so I'm more familiar with the formulas they use in collabs. But yes, this is a much thinner, kind of watery formula compared to the Super Shock blush formula. This is called Electro Ball. Sorry, the Gengar blush was called Hypnosis. This is Electro Ball, and this is a red. Again, looks kind of scary in the pan. But yeah, even just swatched out like that, much less intimidating. I'm honestly not sure how blushes like this would perform on darker skin. That's just not an area where I have a lot of knowledge in, unfortunately. So do let me know if you do have experience using formulas like this on deeper skin. Ooh, for my eye look, I kind of feel like being boring and just using Metronome again, because my eye look is already a lot, and I feel like the red and the purple would just clash with it. You know what? Electro Ball, because once I actually swatch it out, it's less red and it's kind of more of an orange hue on my skin tone. I'm gonna go in with that. Not gonna be boring. Oh yeah, look at that. Very light. And I am like really digging into the pan. I can't tell if it's the bronzers underneath the blush, because I am trying out a couple of new bronzers today as well. But this is kind of patching up on me, particularly on this cheek. This cheek I'm not really having a problem. And that could be due to the fact that I have more texture on this cheek compared to this cheek. So your personal results with this may vary depending on how much texture you have on your skin. It kind of gives my skin a kind of glowy, maybe like a painted look, whereas the Super Shock blushes were very matte, and the cream itself could be a little on the heavy side and could take a while to control. Not to say you couldn't blend them out, but they did take a while. But last but not least, we have the Gloss Trio as well as the pH changing lip balms. I did get all 3 of these lip balms, but from what I understand, they're all pretty much the same, so I'm only opening up and using one of them. Kind of similar to the Clear Gloss Trio from the Powerpuff Girls collection. Those were all the same, so I just use one and then I kind of keep the others for when I run out of this guy. I have used this already. I know it is fairly lightly pigmented, and I have a feeling the glosses are going to have more pigment to them, so I'm gonna try this first. Honestly, I could probably just put the lip glosses on top depending on how pigmented they are. I've had 1 or 2 color changing like pH products in the past. I know the whole like pH changing lip balm thing is a little bit of a sham, but I'm not gonna lie, I do like the pinky color that is forming on my lips. I do struggle a lot with pink lipstick. I just feel like a lot of pinks clash with my skin tone, but this is nice. This is kind of like subtle, still gives me a little color. Now I'm just gonna open up these lip glosses, see how pigmented they are, and if I need to wipe this off in the process. I do need to figure it out quickly because this does stain. So this first yellow one is called Thunderstone. Very excited for this because I did say Eevee is my favorite Pokemon, even though these are technically the Eeveelutions, or the various combinations that Eevee can evolve into. That's actually not as pigmented as it looks in the tube, so I'm gonna quickly just wipe this off first and see if I can minimize the staining. Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit, but it's honestly not too bad. This definitely has that iconic cupcake ultra glossy scent. If you follow my sparkly lip gloss series, you'll know I love sparkly gloss, and this definitely checks that box of but the gloss is sparkly enough that the sparkles are catching on camera. That's how you know it's got some sparkle. The next shade is Firestone. Ooh, forgot to swatch this guy. Yeah, looking at both the swatches and on the lips, these are pretty clear glosses in terms of the base, but I like this more on me than Thunderstone. I think yellow shimmer, depending on the hue, can clash with my skin tone. Go ahead and make all the jokes you want about me being yellow, but I prefer these kind of like red flecks. I think there's also some gold in this as well, but it's not that kind of paler, maybe cooler toned yellow that tends to clash with my skin tone. So in terms of the hue, I definitely prefer this one over the yellow. Last but not least, we have Waterstone. I am a little nervous about this guy because if you saw my Colourpop Twilight video, you'll know that my little experiment trying to wear blue lip oils did not exactly go to plan. So we'll see how this looks on the... I'm already a little intimidated. Okay, I think the fact that these glosses have a mostly clear base and it's the sparkles that are colored is what's saving this for me. I actually kind of like how, yeah, the blue sparkles complement my eye look. I actually kind of do like this. The blue sparkles are still combining with that redness in my inner lip that kind of makes my lips look like they're bruised a little. But I don't dislike this as much as I thought I would. Yeah, so that is everything. Final thoughts, I love the eyeshadow palette. Thank God it was the good Colourpop shimmer formula, because nowadays it's not always, and I hope that this is the formula they're gonna continue to use in their collab palettes. Love Super Shocks, as always. Never change that formula, please, dear God. The blushes, definitely a different formula compared to what I'm used to from Colourpop, but I do enjoy it so far. I do like the kind of glow it gives me. I'm not wearing any highlighter right now, so this is just like a nice little bit of extra glow. pH changing lip balm. Again, pH changing lip balms, like the science behind it is not exactly science, but I do like the color it changes on me. Not everybody does, so I can understand maybe that's not a product for you. Personally, lip mask. That was my first time trying it. Smell is kind of strong, but the shimmer is not as obvious, so that might be a lip product I use just day to day. And then the lip glosses. The Thunderstone has to be my least favorite. I actually don't understand why you can't buy the glosses individually. You can only buy them in a set, which is an interesting choice. Other than, like I said, the clear roll-on glosses that were all the same. I don't know if Colourpop's ever done that with the collab collection before, because those glosses are all definitely different. And I could very much see someone maybe wanting one, but not the other, so that's kind of an odd choice. Other than that, I do generally like the glosses. And yeah, let me know your thoughts. How familiar are you with Pokemon? I feel like, as someone who's like kind of a millennial Gen Z cusper, I feel like Pokemon is like this like universal thing, but there are a lot of people who haven't played Pokemon. So let me know, how familiar are you with this, and did you pick anything up? Let me know, and I will see you next time.